Hello there, welcome to my views and news. For almost a week, viewers, we have been seeing discussions, arguments, counter arguments about access to the Red Sea for Ethiopia. PM Abiy spoke, then Eritrea issued a very brief statement, and last night Somalia responded to. I talked about the position of Amhara pro-Fano elements, Amhara diaspora. How are they seeing these developments? Obviously, they are happy. They're relieved because they have been hoping to see a war between Ethiopia and Eritrea to divert Ethiopian military's focus from the Amhara region. They have been trying their best to pit Abiy against Isaias, but they did not have to do much. PM Abiy himself decided to confront Isaias by talking about the Red Sea. So, pro-Fano activists, Amhara people who support Fano, who criticize the government, they are happy. They are seeing a blessing in disguise in this confrontation between PM Abiy and Isaias Afwerki. Oromos, I would say they support Ethiopian government, though there are splits. But still, majority of Oromo would support PM Abiy's position about the Red Sea. Important question is, what is Tigray's position? What is TPLF thinking? Does it want to be part of a new conflict? Does it want to take revenge? Well, to analyze likely TPLF's position regarding this new escalation between Ethiopia and Eritrea. Firstly, it's not now between Ethiopia and Eritrea. Somalia has joined to Eritrea, backing Somalia-Eritrea training. Somalia's troops did a video a few hours ago. Somalia's foreign ministry said no discussions about Somalia's territorial integrity and sovereignty. So both Somalia and Eritrea have joined hands against Ethiopian PM Abiy, Ethiopian government's position about the access to the Red Sea. Now Tigray. Ideally, Tigray would like to take revenge. And it happens, by the way, in this part of the world, in other parts of the world too, that countries mostly don't forget their battlefield losses, their wounds. They try to take revenge. And if you analyze Tigray war, I've been saying that the difference between Tigray fighters and Ethiopian military was combat drones, which ENDF purchased from abroad and used, and Eritrean military. Had there been no Eritrean military involvement, no combat drones, maybe TDF would have reached Addis Ababa. So it was EDF mainly which struck some decisive blows to Tigray forces. Tigray forces were close to Waldia in this third round of offensive, when big offensive from the north came, led by Eritrean generals. Yes, ENDF was part of the offensive to Amhara forces too, but it was mainly Eritrea. So Tigray will never forget what Eritrea did. Tigray would like to take revenge. I've been saying that. Though I propose that the two sides should sit at the table, I've been suggesting that for months. Since the signing of Pretoria deal, I've been saying that there should be discussion, engagement between Tigray and Eritrea. Obviously, Ethiopian government can be on board too. All should sit and they should make a new start. It has not happened. Tigray offered a little. It wanted to talk about Badme, other territories. Eritrea did not respond. Eritrea says that the decision of boundary commission has been implemented. So the territories under EDF control are part of Eritrea. Eritrea not responding. Tigray only wants to talk to the extent of border. So no reconciliation. Since there is no reconciliation, it means that there is no normalization of Tigray-Eritrea ties. Tigray ideally would like to take revenge. First point. Second point is, what will Tigray get from taking this revenge? PM Abiy's government wants access to the Red Sea through a far region, obviously, to a support. If Ethiopian military decides to take Assab by force, Eritrean military will try to defend Assab, but importantly, Eritrean military will open multiple fronts. Assab is closer to Ethiopia than to Asmara. So maybe Eritrean military won't be able to defend Assab, but it will be able to open several other fronts which could be deadly for Ethiopian forces, including Tigray forces. I'm not saying that Eritrea cannot defend Assab, by the way. Don't misunderstand me. I said that in a previous video too, but people misunderstood me. I said it's difficult for Eritrean military to mobilize its forces from Massawa, from Asmara to Assab, because Assab is 500 kilometers away from Eritrea, from center, from capital. It does not mean that Eritrea cannot defend Assab. We'll try to have a look at that too, military tactics, in some separate videos. But if, let's suppose that somehow Ethiopian forces reach Assab, Eritrea will open new fronts, and the biggest front would be on Tigray border. One of the biggest fronts. Eritrea obviously would try to take control of western zone. Tigray will again suffer. So what will Tigray get from this war? Tigray will be a victim. Yes, Eritrean military will be overstretched. Different fronts will be opened by Ethiopian military too. But Tigray in the end would suffer. Tigray is already in the process of reconstruction, rehabilitation. Tens of thousands of Tigrayans are still at camps in Tigray. Their return to disputed territories, Koram, Milamata, Umera Volkaya, Segede, could not start. Ethiopian government not giving full assurance to Tigray about the future status of disputed territories. And we know that Tigray forces suffered in the 2-year-long war because of siege. Siege was put in place around Tigray. Tigray lost access to a neighboring country, and that is Sudan. Had Tigray managed to regain access to Sudan, it would have been in a position to continue the war and maybe to push EDF, ENDF out of Tigray and maybe move deep into Eritrea or towards Addis Ababa. But that siege was that siege forced TDF to make compromises. And so far, Ethiopian government is not giving full assurance to Tigray about the status of Western zone. Tigray, before starting any new adventure, if it happened, I'm not saying Tigray wants to start a new adventure. Before any new adventure, ideally Tigray would like to have access to Sudan first. Is Sudan pro-Eritrea or pro-Ethiopia? Another question. These days, border areas are pro-Eritrea. We know that. But still, since in Sudan there are other parties too, at least Tigray would like to have access to Sudan. Before that, it cannot consider being part of any war or any conflict. PM Abiy's government would like Tigray to be involved in the operation against Fano too, but TPLF so far has not participated in the conflict in support of Ethiopian military. It just issued statements. Why? Because for Tigray, main concern is that it should get its territory back, which Tigray says it's Tigray's territory. Amhara people say Volkaya, Tumera, Sagade, Koram, Alamat are part of Amhara. So Tigray wants restoration of its borders to pre-war position, and then it can consider what to do. In present circumstances, it would be difficult for Ethiopian PM Abiy to get support of Tigray, military support at this point of time, because some challenging issues are unresolved. Tigray wants those issues to be resolved first. Return of IDPs, one of the main issues. Restoration of Tigray's borders, another main issue. Accountability isn't going to happen. I think Tigray has realized too that there is no point in pursuing the case for extension of the mandate of UN Inquiry Commission, though Debretsion wrote a letter, but Tigray government is in agreement with Ethiopian federal government about termination of UN Inquiry Commission. So accountability won't happen. Ideally, Tigray would like its territories back, its region to reconstruct, rehabilitate its people. Then it can consider becoming part of a new war or otherwise. Before that, I don't think Tigray would like to be part of the war. And secondly, if Tigray decides to join in, Amhara, Eritrean allies could try to attack Tigray. Tigray will have to take into account several important things before joining the war. That is why, at this point of time, it is difficult for Tigray to be part of this war. And PM Abiy's government maybe knows pretty well that this is the time to start a new war. Tigray devastated because of the war, Amhara region destabilized, internal unity is missing, regional situation not in favor of Ethiopian government. So I think he'll continue diplomatic pressure, maybe some proxy wars too, some other tactics will be used by Ethiopian government too, I think, in coming weeks and months. But keeping in view the internal situation, no new war is likely. Tigray is in a difficult position. Political unrest there to opposition parties challenging TPLF. TPLF finding it difficult to get the Tigray's economy moving. So hard times ahead for Tigray. Maybe after some time, if Tigray has managed to regain its strength, it could consider becoming part of the conflict. People would say, Sajid, Tigray has standing army of more than 100,000 fighters. Yes, but why? Because there is no money to demobilize them, to make them part of the society, to give them jobs. That is why they are there. If money is provided, obviously Tigray would like these people to return to their work, but it does not mean Tigray would disband the military, because Tigray wants assurances. It wants to retake control of territories before it will consider complete disbandment of its forces. So several issues for Tigray. It's not easy for Tigray to be part of this war. If Tigray is not joining, if Amhara is not joining, can Oromos alone fight a war against Eritrean military? Very important question. And maybe Somalia could join in as well against Ethiopia. Now, yesterday's statement was a signal for Ethiopian government that Eritrea is not alone. Somalia is supporting Eritrea. Thank you for watching.